Right now, somewhere, millions of people are screaming at their TVs, painting their faces, completely wrecked because 11 strangers lost a game. And then there's the other group, the people who just don't care, who hear, "Did you catch the game last night?" and feel absolutely nothing. If that second group is you, here's something you may have been told your whole life. That you're boring, that you lack passion, that something's a little off about you. But here's the truth. Not caring about sports doesn't make you broken. It doesn't make you cold. And according to a growing body of psychology and neuroscience, your brain might simply be wired to chase meaning in a different place. So today, let's decode what's actually happening in the mind of someone who doesn't obsess over sports. Not to prove anyone right or wrong, but because once you understand it, you'll never see that friend who lives and dies by their team, or the one who couldn't care less, quite the same way again. Let's start with the obvious question. Why do so many people care so much in the first place? A big part of the answer is that humans are tribal creatures. For most of our history, belonging to a group was survival. Your tribe hunted with you, protected you, kept you alive. So the brain evolved to treat group membership as deeply, powerfully important. And sports are basically modern tribes, just with better merchandise. When someone watches their team, the brain can release oxytocin, sometimes called the bonding hormone. It's part of what helps us feel close to family and friends. In other words, a fan's brain can start treating those players like part of their own clan, even though they've never met. But people who don't obsess over sports often have what you might think of as a quieter tribal instinct. Their sense of who they are just isn't as tied to belonging to a big group. They're more individualistic. They're more likely to say, "I don't need to be part of something huge to feel complete." And research points in this direction too. Studies have generally found that people with low sports interest show less us versus them thinking. In plain terms, they don't automatically dislike the other team just for wearing different colors. The whole rivalry framing that feels so natural to a die-hard fan can feel almost meaningless to them. But it gets more interesting, because what happens in the brain of a hardcore fan during a game is genuinely intense. You know that buzz right before you open a gift, that little spike of anticipation? That's dopamine, the brain's motivation and reward chemical. Fans get that hit over and over during a game. Every play, every possession, constant microdoses of anticipation and reward. And here's the key. It's the uncertainty that makes it so strong. You don't know if your team will win. Brain research using scans has suggested that watching your team can light up some of the same reward circuits involved in other highly compelling, high-stakes activities. Psychologists call this kind of pattern intermittent reinforcement. When a reward is unpredictable, the brain actually chases it harder. It's the same principle that makes slot machines so hard to walk away from. The payoff might come at any moment, so you stay locked in. People who don't care about sports, their reward system just doesn't fire the same way for this. Watching strangers compete doesn't give their brain that jackpot feeling. And some researchers think there may even be a genetic piece to this, that natural differences in how our dopamine systems work might partly shape how thrilling we find competitive spectator events. So your total indifference to whether your city's team wins on Sunday might be wired deeper than you ever realized. Now here's another layer, and it explains a lot. There's a phenomenon psychologists describe as basking in reflected glory. When a fan's team wins, they say, "We won." When the team loses, notice the switch. Suddenly it's, "They lost." The pronoun quietly changes to protect the ego. People who don't obsess over sports are far less likely to do this. Their self-image stays more consistent. Their sense of worth doesn't rise and crash with a scoreboard because it isn't borrowed from something completely outside their control. And there's a quiet kind of stability in that. when your self-esteem doesn't depend on a last-second field goal, a bad Sunday is just a Sunday. Now, before anyone takes this the wrong way, this isn't about one group being smarter or better. It's just that these are real, measurable differences in how people are wired, and that's genuinely fascinating. Here's something that sounds almost backwards. Sports fans often score high on certain measures of empathy. They get real practice caring deeply about other people's struggles, even strangers in the same jersey. So why don't non-fans feel that same pull toward the athletes? It comes down to something we can call empathy allocation. Every one of us has a limited budget for caring intensely about things. Fans spend a chunk of that budget on their team. People who aren't into sports simply spend it elsewhere. On social causes, on close relationships, on creative work, on ideas that keep them up at night. Think of the person who couldn't tell you last night's score, but can talk for an hour about a documentary that moved them, or a friend who's quietly going through something hard. The caring is still there. It's just aimed somewhere else. And research tends to back this up. People with low sports interest often score higher in what psychologists call openness to experience, a love of art, beauty, novelty, and big ideas. They're chasing the exact same things a fan is, meaning connection, a sense of something bigger than themselves. They're just finding it in a gallery, a song, a forest trail, or a late-night conversation instead of a stadium. And let's be honest about one more thing. For some people, not caring about sports is partly a defense. Maybe they were picked last in gym class. Maybe sports culture felt loud, aggressive, or exclusive. Maybe they just never understood why grown adults scream at a screen over a ball. Sometimes indifference has a backstory, and sometimes people just find it boring. Both are completely valid. But here's the part that really explains why fans and non-fans sometimes can't understand each other at all. It comes down to how each person finds meaning. Fans find meaning in narrative, the underdog who shocks everyone, the comeback, the dynasty, the rivalry that's been simmering for decades. It's gripping because it's unscripted, real drama with real stakes, unfolding live. People who don't care about sports often look at that same drama and feel nothing, because to them, the outcome is random and disconnected from their life. Their instinct is, why would I pour my heart into a result I can't influence, played by people I'll never meet, in a game that doesn't touch my actual world? And honestly, they're not wrong, but neither are the fans. It's just two different answers to the same deep human need for story and meaning. One person finds their epic in a championship run. Another finds it in a novel, a relationship, a project they're building, or a discovery that changes how they see the world. There's also a difference researchers describe as one-sided investment versus direct engagement. A fan builds a real emotional bond with a team that, of course, doesn't know they exist. Non-fans tend to put their emotional energy where there's actual give and take, where their care changes the outcome, where they're a participant instead of a spectator. And neither one is superior, they're just different strategies for moving through life. One more idea ties this together. The psychologist Csikszentmihalyi spent his career studying what he called flow, those moments of total absorption where time seems to disappear. And his work suggests flow can come from almost anything. For one person, that deep, timeless focus shows up while watching a nail-biter. For another, it shows up while painting, coding, gardening, or getting lost in a good book. The activity can look completely different from the outside, but on the inside, the brain is often doing the very same thing. And here's a quietly striking part. People who don't obsess over sports often say they feel more present in their own lives. They're not spending hours living inside someone else's struggle. They're immersed in their own. There's something subtly powerful about that. So what does all of this actually mean for you? If you don't care about sports, You are not missing some essential human experience. You're just built a little differently. Your reward system, your tribal instincts, the way you spend your empathy, they're all simply tuned to a different channel, and that is completely okay. So the next time someone asks, "Did you see the game?" and you truly could not care less, remember this. You're not broken. You're not boring. You're just playing a different game, one with its own stakes, its own meaning, and its own quiet rewards. And maybe the real takeaway is bigger than sports. The fan and the non-fan aren't opposites. They're two versions of the same human search for connection and meaning, just taking different roads to get there. Understanding that is how we stop rolling our eyes at each other and start actually seeing each other. If this gave you a new way to understand yourself, or that one friend who drives you a little crazy every season, you're going to love our next conversation on why quiet people may be processing the world completely differently from everyone around them, and why that might be their hidden advantage. So stick around here at Deep Ravines Psychology Lab, where we keep decoding the fascinating little ways the human mind shapes how we think, feel, and connect. Until next time, take care of your mind.